Hi, thanks for joining me. Today we're off to the classic car, bike and tractor show at Great Limber. Great Limber is in the north of Lincolnshire, just to the top edge of the Wolds. And as usual, we're taking a roundabout route to get there. Now this is the first time they've held this event, but it's hoped to be an annual show from now on. I'm starting this trip from the old market town of Caistor. We've been here before and we've just passed through the market square there with its monument to Queen Victoria in the middle. We're going to be turning right onto the A1084. This takes us up quite a steep hill out the town and we're heading up towards Caistor Top, which is just on top of the Lincolnshire Wolds. Must be my bad luck or whatever, but each time I come through here I always get stopped at these traffic lights on the steep hill. Now if you're ever in these parts and you want a bit of refreshment, there's a brilliant cafe just up here on the left. It's run by the Rock Foundation, which is a charitable organisation that offers help to young people and adults with learning difficulties. I use it quite regularly. Really nice, friendly place, good food. That was it just on the left we've passed. This is Caistor Top now, and we're right on top of the Wolds. We've taken the A1173 for a short while. These are all nice country roads, nice scenery, and we're branching off to the left here just to go down some of the back lanes. Now back in my first video quite some time ago I mentioned that I'd been inspired to have a go myself after watching bike reviews on various YouTube channels. Needless to say, I'm still watching quite a few and keep finding more good channels all the time. I'm sure many of you will already know some, if not all, but I thought I'd mention some of my favourites just in case you haven't come across them yet. The all-year motorcyclist with his Monday and Friday mutters is a must to watch. He posts 2 or 3 at least videos a week. He's also the go-to place to report giraffe sightings. LanesExplorer, who just bimbles about the back roads on his Royal Enfields. Moving further north, we've got Coastrider Scotland. Now he takes us to a lot of interesting places and many World War II remains, which there still seems to be quite a lot about in this country. There's that bloke on a motorbike taking us round Yorkshire and Derbyshire. Real interesting rides. For some really inspiring dialogues and scenery around God's own country, you must watch the Bingley Wheeler. There's Hughes, yeah, he's on another Royal Enfield. And finally, for this lot anyway, Stuart Fillingham, who always seems to have a real insight into current motorcycling matters. There are many more, but I'll cover some more in future videos, but that's a few to be going on with anyway. If I can work out how to do it, I'll try and put some links to these in the description. But all well worth checking out. Just on our left over the fence there, that's Humberside Airport, or RAF Kermington as it was previously known. It was opened in 1942 under the operation of Bomber Command and was home to 4 different squadrons flying Wellington and Lancaster bombers. The first 3 squadrons weren't there very long, but from the beginning of 1943 to the end of 45 it was home to 166 Squadron. We're going to go straight across here, crossing the A18, and head for the village of Kermington, or Kermo as it's known locally. Kermington's twinned with a town called Turbeg in Holland. The twinning took place to commemorate an episode that took place during the Second World War. In early 1945, planes from RAF Kermington dropped 3,000 food parcels on the Dutch town in what was named Operation Manor. The pub on the right here is the Marrowbone and Cleaver. Now this is owned and run by Sally Martin, who is the sister of Guy Martin, the successful motorcycle racer, general petrolhead and now TV presenter. We're stopping just down here on the left to take a look at the memorial garden to RAF Kermington and 166 Squadron in particular. On the right here we've got the Church of St Helena that dates from around the 12th century. The green spire was added to the tower in 1838 though. It's actually a wooden spire covered with copper, which is why it's gone green now. We've passed through Kermington now and we're going to go left onto the A18 just for a few hundred yards. We'll branch off here to ride up through Barnsley Park. Barnsley Park's quite a large estate. It covers around 27,000 acres. We're entering through this very imposing archway that spans the B1210. It bears the inscription to Charles Anderson Worsley, 2nd Earl of Yarborough, by his tenants and friends. It was built in 1864 to honour the 2nd Earl of Yarborough, and it's now a Grade 2 listed building. It's a lovely drive through these grounds, and there actually used to be an annual steam rally held here in the park, but sadly that disappeared some time ago. The hall, which is some way off to the right and can't actually be seen from here, was built around the early 17th century for the Pelham family. It's a Grade 1 listed building. Part of the park and woodlands was laid out by Capability Brown. Oh dear, was so enjoying the surroundings, totally missed the turn there, but with the magic of video editing we can turn round and come back to the crossroads. There's a lot of lovely buildings on the estate. These stone houses are just typical. We're just leaving Barnsley Park now. Just up ahead now we can see a plume of steam and smoke, so we have a good idea what's going to be there. That's a wonderful sight. I bet he must be going to Great Limber Show. Thank you very much, sir. He's waving me through. It's a Fowler A9 road locomotive built at Hunslet in Leeds in 1920. What a great sight. Lovely to see these machines out and about. Back at the A18 again now, and we're turning right to head up into Great Limber. There's no signage for the show, but I know it's at the village hall, so we'll turn off into the village just here. I can see it's pretty busy up ahead, so we'll just park up on the grass with all these other cars and bikes. Have a walk down. Looks like there's quite a lot here, so we'll just take a walk around and see what we can find. There's cars, bikes and all sorts by the looks of it. BSA Gold Flash, I think. Must be a 1950s because it's got plunger suspension. A few Harleys, trikes, just what you'd expect. And a nice Sunbeam S8. Had one of those about 50 years ago. Also had an S7 much more recently. They're lovely bikes. An old and a new Royal Enfield sitting side by side. Oh, and that looks like a Suzuki Kettle. And some more Harleys. Here's the Fowler Road locomotive that we passed earlier, just arriving. That's a splendid sight. We'll take a walk through the classic cars now. There's actually a few more of the older makes on show, more of what I think of as classics.
I just say I do less and less since I've been retired.
This is a bit different for an old Austin. Not exactly my cup of tea, but somebody's put a lot of work into that. Fair play to them. Quite a few more vehicles out in the field at the back as well. Nice GMC tractor unit with a fifth wheel. A nice Alvis convertible. Love the stylish interior on these with the walnut veneer and the acres of leather. Interestingly, Alvis are still in production and you can order a new car today if you've got deep enough pockets. This is a really good venue at the side of the village duck pond and a really good turnout of vehicles. Very enjoyable. Look forward to next year's show. I'll just put up a few photos now as we head on out the village. They're just vehicles that appeal to me. Lovely Harley Davidson 1200 FLH. It's a shovel head, about 1980. I had one of those for about 25 years. Lovely bikes. A Mark II Ford Zodiac. Very clean. I think this one's a Morris 8. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now I had no idea what this was, but it looked interesting, so I've googled it. It's actually a Westfield 11 and it's a kit car and it's made around a BMC 1275 A series engine. Interesting. That's all from the show, so we'll head back along the A18. We're heading up towards the M180. We're travelling along past Humberside Airport again now, but this time we're on the northern side. There's a set of red lights just coming up here, and that's to stop traffic sometimes when a large plane is landing or taking off. That's because the road here is passing straight by the end of the runway. I've actually been stopped a couple of times over the years, and it's quite a sight when they pass really low over the road and over the fence. We're coming into the village of Melton Ross now. This was originally known as Middleton Ross, and Middleton meaning middle farmstead, and Ross referring to the De Ross family who owned all the land. The De Ross family had a long-lasting feud with the Tyrewitts, another local family, and it seems to have gone on for a couple of 100 years according to legend. At one point in the 1400s, their manor house was attacked by a force of some 500 men. Legend also has it that eventually King James I had a gallows erected on a site very close by and ordered that any deaths arising from the feud should be treated as murder and the culprits hanged there. We're going to take a ride up the road and have a look. Just beyond the roundabout we've got the M180 from Doncaster to Grimsby. We're taking the A18 towards Brigg for a short way. Right, this is Gallows Wood Garage, which is the home of a vehicle recovery company, and a bit further up the road we've got Gallows Farm. But what we're interested in is just up here in this lay-by on the right. So here we are at the site of the actual gallows. Now the popular reason for its siting here is regarding King James I and the De Ross family, as we've already mentioned. But, as is often the case, there's another legend attached to it that's a bit more fanciful. Long ago, some boys were playing at hanging from a tree, see who could last the longest, as you do. One of them had climbed up high into the tree when the devil, disguised as a three-legged hare, limped past. The other boys chased the hare to try and catch it and forgot all about the playmate. When they returned some time later, they found him dead, and the gallows were erected on the spot in remembrance of the tragic accident. Anyway, I'm going to wind it up there for today. Hope you've enjoyed this little trip and hope you can join me again on the next one. Cheers for now.